You know what I predict? I predict that by 2025, yes, 3 years from now, everyone will be wearing those 50s future skivvies and wearing droid sunglasses, and kids in Norway will be on our World Vision ads because of how much richer we'll be, and it'll all be because of Labour. What a paradise. Me projected in your glasses, yelling at you while you're peacefully walking your dog. I like Infrastructure Minister Catherine King and time.
Young Jorgen here isn't doing too many happy jigs this semester, as his schools are slightly worse than your schools in Australia.
Look out! You're about to be hit by a Tesla that thanks to Labour's electric car policy now only costs $28. Oh no, you destroyed the Tesla because your skeleton's been replaced with titanium. Let's look at your penis and, yeah, it's rusty from all the times you took a piss out of it, and the Greens are arguing that it's not covered by Medicare! Whiny cunts. And yes, everyone wears sunglasses in the future. You hear it over and over again like it's me coming to your mum's house after dark, stitch. Governments that are serious about tackling climate change think about it in everything they roll out, not just the energy portfolio, not just the environment portfolio. Although, did you hear this? This is bigger than saving the atmosphere. Who cares if the atmosphere is saved if you can't go on those Great Ocean Road drives your girlfriend forces you to go on, and you have to pretend you like it anywhere near as much as they do with your $40 for fish and chips, and yeah, it's magical, yeah. Tanya, our new environment minister, just committed to protecting 30% of Australia's land and ocean by 2030. Gentlemen, answer me this, please. Is your cock as tall as the Huon forests of Tasmania on hearing that? And girls, are your mutts as wet as the Darling after Labor's done with it? She really hit the ground running in that portfolio. Like, I thought she'd be this good, but it turns out she's this good. In fact, I think it deserves its own breakdown because that is as big as it gets. That's the difference between a mass extinction and, the environment's so well managed that dinosaurs came back to life and now they're my friends. So yeah, like this video if you want a full breakdown of the exciting world of land management legislation, as just in case you were thinking they were going to do the dodge thing that New South Wales Liberals do of making a nuclear waste dump a national park, because if an organism's mutated, then you really could be shaving as many as 7 species in the same animal. Look at how they're shaping committees that make environmental decisions. You know how the Liberal Party classic is stacking all the government boards with fossil fuel CEOs and Liberal hacks that they're owed favours to the point that in their tenure, it got higher than 20% of government roles filled by their mates. And that 20% were obviously in the most plum positions. Remember how we did numerous videos talking about this Minerals Council funded economist Brian Fisher that the Murdoch press used to scare Australia out of voting for Labor in 2019, and then he was given a cushy job by the Liberals in their version of the carbon credit scheme, which was basically there just to f it up on purpose, and Labor just asked him, can you get the f out? And he did! Back into the sewers, where you belong. I hope you drop your glasses in there and they crack. They also did it to a former mining executive, who I'm not at all familiar with, but I'm sure he was there for well-intentioned reasons. After all, he thought he was. And for 9 years under the Libs, that was enough. How good is this? All the leeches on the taxpayer's purse, throwing salt over the entire body politic. There you go, killing them off, all to be replaced with people who actually want the government program they're responsible for to work. It actually baffles me how much better your money is getting spent almost immediately. Like, I haven't even gotten my balls waxed since Labor's been in, and they've done this? Next time I go in, I'm just going to keep a little patch there to look like Tony Burke's hair in their honour. They made their first steps towards the electric vehicle rollout policy that they had. They've just launched their green vehicle guide, because you know how the classic throwback you get on electric vehicles is that they take up more emissions than they produce, and shorter lives, and of course the classic, they're gay. This guy's just going to answer all of that easily. It's just going to be a bunch of nerds who you're very glad you don't have their lives slaving away, endlessly researching how many emissions they actually emit in their life cycle. What's a good price to pay for it? I mean, how much better is that than the closest thing available to that under the Liberals, which was the Tesla car salesman? They just made a domestic smarttraveler.gov. You ever use that website? No, and that's why you're currently watching this in an Uzbekistani prison? Oh, suck my recently styled balls. You know the whole Australia's responsible for less than 1% of the Earth's emissions, and it's like, true, but if we manage our economy in a different way, the knock-on effects could reduce it by many percentages more. We actually talked about this in previous videos that made fun of Brian Fisher, as he well deserves, as look at him. It has been way too long since that man has gotten a swirly. Air services are responsible for 2.1% of emissions on Earth. Everybody knows that. That exact percentile is what they know, obviously. But did you know their emissions are actually a lot worse for the atmosphere as they're just spraying it right up there? It's like when you got a Frosty from your friend in year 5. The closer the lynx was, the more effect it had. So Catherine King commissioned a white paper to set up a council whose job it'll be to look at how best to develop sustainable aviation fuels, which means when we do, big chunk of the emissions problem solved and cash, like what you can win at pokies. Yeah. Don't watch the interview with Troy Boy, it eats into valuable time where you could be winning. Also, you might not be able to watch it because Clubs New South Wales took it off YouTube. Also, Albo announced that superannuation companies will again have to show how they're tracking in comparison to other super funds, which the Liberals obviously took out because they want you staying with your shit bank-run super fund. So he just made you even more cash to spend at the pokies. Look, everyone's doing it, even Christo. They're honouring the spirit of Keating. Yeah, I know he's not dead, but he's hanging on by getting super up to 12% instead of what the Liberals did, which was basically just announce last election, we're not doing superannuation anymore. God, I'm glad they lost. Can you imagine a world without super? It would be, well, most of the world doesn't have super, so it's this world. It's pretty easy to imagine. But the first step is pushing it up by 0.5%. Done. On average, $15,000 extra for you. Jesus. What are we up to now? They made you $17,000 while the Liberals stripped you of 10 grand? Can you just tell someone you know that? Anyone who ever whinges about, let's join boys, bring back the economy. Can you tell them Liberals last term cost you dumb f***, 10 grand, while Labor are making you what, 17 grand and it's the first quarter of a year in government? Christ, think about how many sweet fixated persons unit shirt you could buy at friendlyjoys.com with that. Also, how's this for looking out for small business? You know the whole every nan and pop business in Australia narrative of Labor will kill small business and then I'd imagine your nan will die of grief. Labor will kill your nan and tax her cold pov corpse. First off, they're keeping her alive. The Liberals neglected old people so much. So counterintuitive as well. That is their entire voting base, and they thought, no, I want a job on a corporate board where I don't have to do anything, so I'm giving the public money to them instead of the aged care workers. Because what about my retirement, right? I don't want to end up in a public nursing home. Those places are f***ed. Labor's not killing your nan. They're looking into it now in government and realising the aged care sector is worse than what was exposed to the Royal Commission. Poor little wrinkly guys. It's like a 19th century insane asylum in there, but without the free freak show laughs to liven the place up. Labor, in spite of that, 24/7 care for your pep by next July. So tell your pep that if he starts spouting Murdoch talking points, listen, your liver spotted covered f***. If Dutton gets back, the old folks home is going to be what it was like in COVID days, okay? I'll be good. But back to small business help, they've introduced quotas. See, this is what the Libs were trying to keep out. A quota of 20% of government contracts going to small businesses. You know, give the war dogs a chance. $70 billion a year, about 90% of it going to big business currently. Yet another way of sucking wealth out of your pocket and into Liberal Party donors instead of helping the little guy. Like Malcolm's Tackle World in Nowra. I'm sure they'll get the next contract going for submarines, and why not? At least they'd be made in Australia! And now you know the news for another week in the greatest country on earth, these United States of Australia. Australia has states too, you know. We actually did turn into Chairman Albanese's workers' paradise. Like and subscribe, comrades.
Please share and comment below. Comment.